Hi, Trapnest here. Welcome to my 28 Days Later music production course where I will be teaching you everything you need to know to become a full-time music producer, from creating entire songs to developing your own brand and creating a business plan. In the last video, I showed you how to use compression to create a more balanced sound in your mix. And in this video, I will be showing you how to use Reverb to give your mix a more three-dimensional sound. If you're new to these videos, please make sure to check the other videos in this course, that way we can be on the same page. And if you are enjoying this content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram for more content like this. That helps me a lot. Okay, first of all, what is Reverb? This is a natural result of sound waves bouncing or interacting with surfaces. When you go into an empty room, let's say you are just moving into a new house, there will be a lot of echo, right? On the other hand, if you go into, let's say, a closet full of clothes, then you will hear little to no echo. The really cool thing about Reverb is that it can tell you a lot of information about the place where you are, even if you have never been to that place. Let's say, for example, you are meeting a friend's house for the first time. If you cover your eyes and ask this friend to show you the different rooms, you will be able to tell in what room are you just by the reverb. Like, for example, you will be able to tell apart when you are in the bathroom and when you are in a bedroom or when you are in a hall. Just the information of the reverb will let your brain know, okay, we are in this space. So when we use reverb, we want to try and emulate these different spaces. Like, for example, the reverberation of a concert hall is not the same as the reverb of, let's say, a smaller room. We need to decide what kind of ambient will be the most suitable for our sound and then go with it. Okay, let's go into our browser, audio effects. You're going to select reverb, and in reverb, you have three kind of rooms, at least in Ableton. You have the hall, you have the room, and a special. You can also have different rooms like chambers, you can have plate reverbs. Unfortunately, Ableton is only giving us these options, so let's go with the hall. And I'm going to select a preset of a medium stage. I don't imagine this beat being played in a 500,000 people stage. No, this is more like kind of a club, like 100, 200 people at most. So something like a medium stage is fine. The reverb can be quite intimidating at first, because there's a lot of things that you can do with this. It's a really versatile tool, and unlike, let's say, something like EQ or compression, you can use the reverb either as a utility tool or as a creative tool. An example of creative tool would be using the reverb just for sound design. But we don't want to get into sound design. We are focused on the utility aspect. So we will use this pretty much to first recreate this space we're talking about, and second, to create the depth in your song, to either send elements to the front or bring them to the back. I will show you only the most necessary tools. The first one we already did is determining what kind of space do we want our song to be in. The second tool is gonna be the size of the room. We use the size of the room to pretty much send the sound to the front or to the back. Let me show you with an example. And let's select something like a small size for this one, because these are the drums. So the drums, I want to be punchy, in your face, have a lot of presence. So I'm gonna select a really small size for the room. The next thing will be the decay time. This is pretty much how long will these sound reflections take to disappear. So the longer the time, okay, be careful to not use long decay times. they can muddy your sound and instead of helping can actually harm the mix. The next thing will be the pre-delay. This is how much time it's gonna take for the reverb to come in after the sound signal has passed through the reverb. If we go back to the compression, you can think of the pre-delay as the attack and the decay as the release. So I'm just gonna select like 0 pre-delay because I want it to come immediately with the sound. Okay, and the last basic control will be the dry and wet that signal. That pretty much is the amount of dry signal, the no reverb sound, to be mixed with the wet signal that is the reverb sound. Since I don't want much reverb in my drums, I'm gonna select around 11% and see what happens. I'm applying reverb to the drum bass because the reverb is a really helpful tool when it comes to creating cohesion between sounds. Remember that we are using 2 different kinds of drums here, but we need to make them sound as if it was just one drum set. So let's go ahead and see what happened here. Okay, at 11%, I don't feel that much of a difference, so let's try with 20. Now I can hear the difference. You see that without reverb, notice how the hi-hats are kind of hitting a little bit too loud and too hard. With the reverb, they have more warmth. They don't hit as hard in your ear. And the problem here is that, yes, it sounds really good for hi-hats, but it's also affecting our kick drum and our snare. We cannot do much about it because we are using a loop. But let's try to find a balance where the hi-hats will still sound good without making the kick and the snare losing too much punch. I would say around 17 or 16%. And that's pretty much what reverb is. Now we are going to add reverb to the other sounds. And in this case, I want to stick to the same preset because I want everything to feel as if they were in the same environment. Let's add a medium hold to the 808. Okay, and let's select the size. For decay time, since it's such a loud element, I really want a fast decay time. As for the pre-delay, same thing. I want it to act as soon as the sound signal comes in. For dry or wet, let's just try something like 35%. Definitely, I like how it sounds more in the background now. Let's add reverb to our last element. That will be the melody bass. For the melody bass, I definitely want it to be more in the background. So if we think in layers, the drums will be in the front, the bass line 808 will be in the middle point, and the melody will be in the back. The reason why I want the melody in the back is so if a vocalist, a rapper, whatever you want, wants to jump into your beat, you will leave that front space for the vocal. If you leave the front space for the melody as well, then the vocals are gonna be fighting with the melodies for that front space. And that's pretty much what reverb is. You don't need to go crazy with reverb. I would recommend you experimenting with the different presets once you understand a little more about the basic settings of reverb. Yeah, you pretty much just need to know how to set up with the size, the decay time, the pre-delay, and the dry wet. Those are the 4 basic controls, plus determining what kind of space do you want your song to be in. These videos take a lot of time and effort to do, and I'm really happy to put out this content for you. But if you're enjoying, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and give a thumbs up to this video. You may not think that that's very helpful, but trust me, that's really helpful to me. And as always, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask me, and I'll see you in the next one.